So according to Video Games Chronicle and a couple of other gaming news outlets, Dead Space may be making a return, which is especially interesting to me because I just started playing this game again for this channel and I'm really feeling it right now. Let's get into it. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, you did hear me correctly. Dead Space may be making a return, however, it comes with some major caveats, as of course it does. So a journalist named Jeff Grubb came out and said that EA was set to announce a new project during its EA Play Live event on July 22nd, which he had previously claimed was an unnamed established IP revival by EA's Motive Studios. So after Jeff Grubb made that announcement saying that yes, there's going to be a revival of an unnamed already established IP by EA's Motive Studios, when questioned about that, his reply to that was, "We're going to see it if we're not dead first." Get it? Dead first. So everybody took that as a wink and a nod towards Dead Space, of course. And now other game news outlets, including Gemetsu, I'm not pronouncing that correctly most likely, has corroborated the report and claimed that yes, the established IP that we're talking about here, this unnamed established IP that will be revived, is in fact Dead Space. So all of that should be fantastic news. We should be excited about the fact that Dead Space is coming back, but I'm going to let you know why I am very cautiously optimistic. There is some hope for it, but let's start with why Dead Space kind of died off to begin with. EA killed it. EA killed Dead Space to begin with. There's no other way of wording that. Dead Space 1 and 2 are highly regarded up until now. They are very old games. They were ahead of their time. They are absolutely incredible games. The developers, the company behind making the game were... Who was the company behind Visceral Games? Visceral Games, the studio that is behind making the Dead Space lineup, are absolutely incredible people who had gold on their hands. And the game, the entire series died ahead of its time due to EA's involvement. So right off the bat, I can think of two things. So like I said before, Dead Space 1 and 2 were highly regarded. There was no microtransactions at all. And what I can think of is the fact that there were these credits, I forget the name of it, that you can find around the game that you could use after going to a workbench. You could upgrade your weapon or purchase a new weapon. Again, no real money involved. It was just all in-game stuff, in-game currency. And then when Dead Space 3 rolled around, EA got involved and introduced microtransactions. So now I guess you didn't have to, but you were heavily incentivized to use real-world money in order to upgrade your weapon or purchase a new weapon. And outside of that, there was the added layer, or another issue, which was the fact that gamers were not happy with the fact that Dead Space 3 was less horror, which the series was known for with 1 and 2. Everybody loved Dead Space 1 and 2 because it was a horror game. It was actually scary. And then Dead Space 3 rolled around, there were microtransactions in it. And also, in addition to that, it wasn't really scary at all. It was more of an action game more than anything else. In short, Dead Space 3 was an action game that was pay to win. And I gotta say, speaking of horror games, even till this day, as someone that is currently playing Dead Space right now for this channel, Dead Space is as scary as I remember. It definitely holds its own. And I gotta say, I think it's way better than any horror game that I can think of today, or most horror games that I can think of that comes out today, because there's a lot of horror games that come out now all the time, but they all seem like just the same game, the exact same game with like different themes and skins, and it's just kind of nonsense. Anyway, gamers were not happy with the fact that Dead Space 3 had microtransactions and the shift from Dead Space 1 and 2 being an actual great horror game. And then when Dead Space 3 came out, there was no horror really involved, and it was more of an action game. Gamers were not happy with that. EA saw the fact that gamers were not happy with that, and as a result, EA decided to close down Visceral Games entirely, and there was no Dead Space after that. So the Dead Space line died due to the fact that EA ruined Dead Space 3 and then completely shut down the franchise when they didn't get the results that they wanted. And then there's this bombshell. According to Gemetsu, the new Dead Space game will be a reimagining of the series rather than a straight up sequel to the existing trilogy of games. So this is going to be a reimagining of Dead Space, so I'm going to imagine that they're going to change quite a lot. And the last time they changed anything regarding Dead Space, it didn't turn out so well. In addition to that, the original creators behind the Dead Space franchise will not be involved in this new Dead Space game coming out at all. Instead, they are working on their own game currently, and it's called the Callisto Protocol, and I have to say, it looks really good, and I cannot wait for this to come out. And they're going back to their roots. The Callisto Protocol is a story-driven survival horror game, and it's going to be coming in 2022. So those are all of my concerns, the main ones being that the original creators behind Dead Space is not involved in this at all. It's a reimagining of Dead Space, meaning that this game may be completely different from the Dead Space that we're used to, that we know and love, and the fact that EA's involved, period. So to me, when I first read that, it was like, okay, well, it's not a matter of if there's going to be microtransactions in the game, but how they will implement them. Will it be too intrusive? But I do need to add that the people who are working on this revival of the Dead Space series, you know, EA's Motive Studio, did release a game called Star Wars Squadrons last year, and there was no microtransactions in that game, and that game was very well received. In addition to that, when Star Wars Battlefront 2 came out, we all know that that was another absolutely incredible game that was being severely held back due to EA adding a lot of microtransactions to the point where it was ruining the gameplay, and gamers spoke up, made their voices heard, and EA removed those microtransactions. So maybe they learned their lessons from that, and there won't be an issue in this game. We can hope. So there is the chance that Motive Studios will pull off something amazing, and this will be a great game. We just have to wait and see. Anyway, guys, let me know how you feel about all this in the comment section. I love you all. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.